Hey, it's your boy Doug.
It's your humble servant, W. Dot.
And this is the UnReasonable Bias Podcast coming to you live.
Greetings, beloved.
Now, some people might not know us. Some people might know us, friends, family, co-workers, etc., etc. Some people might know me from my brief stint in the adult entertainment industry as an unfluffer. I walked around between scenes with my shirt off to just kill the whole vibe. So I did that for, the dark times. And then some folks might know us from our music career.
Yeah.
We had a group called the Fifth Year Seniors, which was kind of a play on inside joke on our life because both of us have spent a large chunk, time, money of our life in college.
Yeah.
We have a lot of college years between us before we attained our first degree.
Several doctorates.
Right. And because we have children, I feel like we have to take some time and give back to the youth on some simple tips for success in order to do college good. I'll start it off with what I consider probably the best tip that you can give someone, especially a young man going into college. Yes. First thing you want to do is get rid of your high school girlfriend.
Immediately.
You have more important things to do.
Yes.
To have conversations with a person you trust. There are more important things than having protected, safe sex with a person you trust. There are more important things than you sharing an emotional stability. Sir, you want to find you a woman who you don't know anything about.
Yes.
You have no experience in her back history. You don't know anything about her but this weird nickname they call her.
Yes. Friendly.
And that you don't even know what the nickname means. You think it's cute until you understand that what no knees means back in Detroit. You think it's cute.
Oh, knee
no
pad,
knees.
Natasha.
Yeah, she no knees. Oh, why they call you no knees? Oh, none. Because I got no needs. Yeah, that's what it is. No needs. Yeah. She been giving mouth baths to the JV team in Detroit, and now she your boo thing.
Hands friendly mouth hugs.
Which I'm not gonna mention any names or any relevant details, but I can say this happened to a friend of mine. He ran into a young lady who knew nothing about. She had a great lie. She told him that she had never been intimate with a man before, that she was, trying to find a husband in college and, all these great things that she was trying to do with her life, which I understand now. I'm older, a little bit wiser, a lot more good looking, that all that is a rebrand. And let me tell you, buddy, when we figured out who she was in real life, we understood the rebrand. She had miles on her. I mean, and we're not talking about, low mileage. We're not talking about commuter car. We talking about 1987 Buick Regal, original motor, original transmission, new tires, miles on her.
CarMax wouldn't even take her.
CarMax is going to shake your hand and smile and call security. And they are going to say, we know you're going to be mad about this, but you need to take them keys and them tires and get out.
Now, see, your tip I like.
Right.
I'm going to add a little bit to that.
Okay.
I would say, gentlemen, young sir going to college, not only do you need to forcibly get rid of your high school girlfriend, you need to get rid of your high school self immediately. Nobody cares. Even if you're going to a school with a lot of your classmates, you should show up brand new.
Okay,
Act
I'm
like
with
you
you.
know none of them. Act like you know none of them.
Gotcha.
Hey, Cedric. My name's
Yeah,
Terry. I don't know who you talking to.
like you get amnesia.
Real quick. Especially your same sex friends, because they're not going to do you any good, ever, at all, ever. Secondly, I will say that if you are on the portly side, if you are of the voluptuous nature, full-figured men, as we like to call ourselves these days, you need to find you a girl that's going to cook and or has that cafeteria hookup. See, folks don't even talk about this. This is knowledge we need to give to the community right now. We're doing the Lord's work. Let me tell you something. You go out there, you get you a young lady who's working her student. What do they call that when you work as a student? What's that called? Work study. Her work study is cafeteria duty. That's the girl you need to get. Now, yes, she may have a little more facial hair than you. Just a little bit.
A small mustache.
Small mustache. Little base, concealer. Get that right out of here. Don't even worry about that. Matter of fact, Instagram filter, take care of your whole life right there.
Your whole life. Don't. And
but you need that.
And when she asks you to take like video, you say no. She asks for pictures. You say, I'll take the picture and I'll send you the picture. And then you learn Photoshop. To add a little bit of seasoning on your tip, because that's a good tip.
Yes.
You also don't need to sleep on the local girl who's working at KFC or who's working at McDonald's or who's working at they used to call it Miss Winters back in the day, but now it's probably you don't want Chick-fil-A girl. I'm telling you right now. You don't want a Chick-fil-A girl. You don't want a Wendy's girl. You want someone from the lower end of the spectrum.
Yes.
A good Popeyes local woman from Popeyes, a good local woman from not like a regular burger chain, but like a Burger Shack, or a good woman that works in any place that sells fish, but then also has
through a drive-through window.
They got a painted fish on the building that their nephew did. You need to find you a woman who works there, okay? If you are new to a town in college, these are life tips for you. You go to that school and you just drive. You get in a bus or get in an Uber. I mean, all these kids got Ubers, but get in your Uber and drive around the town until you find you a fish shack. Kingfish, Fish and Wings. In Nashville is Bolton's Fish. Just find you somewhere where there is a catfish as their they have a catfish as their mascot.
And the more products that the establishment sells that don't go together, the better. If they're selling catfish and tiramisu, that's the one.
That's what you want, okay? If you get catfish and you get the bread is brioche, then you need to tell them folks, no thank you. All my catfish shacks come with white bread and hot sauce.
Out of a bag that said white bread.
White bread, they got the little cow on the bread with the 3 dots. That's the white bread you want. And, if that woman works in a location that does not have hot sauce packets, but just an old hot sauce bottle with the crust on the top because somebody left the top off, they didn't, it crusted up. Do not sleep on the local women who work in these establishments, because I am telling you, you will never go hungry. Now, will you get robbed?
It is a very high probability that you'll get robbed now, but you can't overlook that.
They don't live on the best part of town, these women. These women do not live generally on the great side of town. They generally have an ex-baby daddy or ex-boyfriend who does not really vibe with you messing with his pookie. There might be some problems, but let me tell you what you won't go. You won't go hungry. And when you pull up to her and you say, hey.
But you won't go hungry.
You going, now listen, jail or hospital, one of the two. But you ain't going hungry. And that's what's important. Don't go hungry. And don't let stigma from your friends, they saying, hey, your girlfriend is weird. Hey, she's angry and violent. Hey, who is that dude following us? Listen, you tell them all, listen, don't worry about that dude. Don't worry about how violent she is. Don't worry if she smokes Black and Milds in your car and you ask her not to. Don't worry about that.
And then she flicks ashes on you.
We're getting these chicken nuggets for the low, okay? We're getting these chicken legs they will throw them out, but now we're eating, okay? And that's the important point. We have me and Willie went to school in the small town Atoka for a while, and there is it's a real small town, and it's small town to the point where we didn't have a McDonald's in Atoka, so we had to drive. We had to drive down the street to Millington, which was like a 15-minute drive, to go to McDonald's, right? Because McDonald's was the place to be.
Believe it or not, McDonald's was where you hung out on a Friday night.
We were in one of those towns. We were in one of those towns where we didn't have a Walmart either. So you didn't Walmart.
For a long time, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't Walmart. You didn't have a McDonald's. I don't think you really hung out in the city. Now that I think about it, you didn't hang out in the city. You hung out like in Millington, or you went to Brighton, or you went to Covington sometimes. If you didn't care about your life, you went to Covington, and if you didn't care about catching a VD, you went to Ripley. Now, that's all I'm saying about that. It has been referred by several people, not me. I would never say such a thing. But it's been referred to several people as freaky deaky sex land, where the women from I think it's from Ripley all the way over till you hit about Knoxville. That's all freaky deaky sex land. Maybe Nashville. Maybe you can stop at Nashville. But Jackson, Tennessee, Ripley, Tennessee, Covington, Tennessee, Brighton, Tennessee, Atoka, Millington, that's all freaky deaky sex land.
Well, but see, here's the thing, Doug. You know, and Lord knows I love Mumford. I love Atoka. You know, definitely call them home. But man, you want to talk about not having anything to do on a Friday night other than a football game?
Ooh.
When we left football games, me and Doug both play football together. They would say, and I quote, "We're going to the big lights." That meant you were going to Memphis.
Yeah.
And the only stop between Memphis and where we were was the McDonald's.
Yep.
And when I tell you, if you had a girl that worked at McDonald's, you were king for a week. You was a king.
So we had a mutual friend of ours, and her husband is frat. So the statute of limitation of what we did at McDonald's is probably not passed or whatever. But anyway, shout out to who she is. Shout out to you.
Shout out.
She used to plug us on, we would come in and say, we want that number 17. It was something wild we used to say. And she would shove everything in that bag but a receipt. We used to pull up in McDonald's and get it in. Shout out to you. You know who you are. Food. And you're the hero.
Like she was out there supplying bags of food like we kicked in the door like Samuel L. Jackson and Coming to America.
The plug.
Beautiful.
The plug.
And if you had a girl that worked at Walmart when it finally came,
okay,
you was equally in. Matter of fact, you were probably better off, because I remember seeing, and again, we'll keep these names out of here, but
right,
I remember seeing a couple of young cashiers who are aspiring to be with certain young men in their lives,
right,
ring up a Tickle Me Elmo that at that time was costing about $75 a piece. Ring that thing up as a Coke Zero. Just ring that right up.
Oh,
as a Coke Zero.
I'm not going to incriminate anyone.
We're not going to do that.
But what I will say is that we have a mutual friend who used to work in grocery that used to be the plug, because the beauty about grocery is if you do it fast enough, you can't tell if a person skipped an item.
That's right.
So it's just like beep, 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 right? But you might beep, beep, skip 3, beep, beep, skip 3. And also I'll put those women in there. If you catch you a good woman who works at a grocery store, you're young, she's old, she got kids your age, her grandkids, are freshmen. You know what I mean? Maul Bell has seen some things. But let me tell you what Maul Bell will do for you. Maul Bell will ring that steak up as a banana. Let me tell you what Maul Bell will do. You feel me? Understand there is value in these, but there is no value in keeping your high school girlfriend. It's over.
Well, I'm going to push back just a little bit, sir. High school girlfriends are good for a couple different things, man. You know, and this is, kind of crass to say, but, when you were a freshman, bruh, excuse me, let me speak on my experience.
Right.
As a freshman at a HBCU, out of town, away from my home, wasn't a whole lot of action coming my way. Now, fortunately for me, I had started school the summer semester. The Black Caucus had come to campus.
Okay.
And so there were young ladies running theirs about the campus.
And this is when you were out at Lincoln, right?
Yeah, this is Lincoln University, Jefferson City, Missouri. Right. Best and worst experience of my life. All at the same time. But you know what I'm saying? So there was somebody there for me to work with during the summer. Now, what I didn't know, but see, Douglas, here's a secret that a lot of young men may not know.
Okay.
A lot of studious young men. See, and even athletes. See, most athletes show up early with the band, right? Mm-hmm. And with people just taking summer classes or summer programs. So like I said, we had the Black Caucus, track team, band, football team, all on campus at the same time. And boy, howdy, did we have a good time.
You got to have a good time.
The semester started, and I didn't know that much like Valentine's Day, Douglas, I was on the clock.
You didn't know you... Listen.
I did not know.
Gentlemen, even though I'm telling you, get rid of your high school girlfriend, I want you to understand something very clearly. Mm-hmm. Your new college girlfriend did not get rid of her high school boyfriend. So you're on the clock, okay? When spring break comes around, it's the same Valentine's Day clock for you, buddy. When Christmas comes around, it is the same clock, buddy, because I'm telling you what, that boo thing back in Idaho or Indiana or that boo thing in Memphis or Atlanta, he is back in town. You can trust and believe. You heard it from old Uncle Doug.
And it's going to be some furniture moving. And so when your girl come back from spring break or Christmas break, and, let's just say, I don't endorse this, certainly not. But, let's just say things become intimate.
Okay.
And you start noticing things are not of the same proportion or in the same place.
It's like when you come home, you park your car, you wake up in the morning, your car's across the street. You're like, how did my car get moved across the street? Larry, that's how. Larry moved your car.
And Douglas, what is Larry's occupation?
Yeah, long meat. That's all Larry. That's Larry's job. Larry got long. That's Larry's job. And then when you try to go back to your ex-high school girlfriend because it's cold in the D. When it's cold out there and you try to go back to her, no, Larry there too.
I mean, you know what? You can go back because I'm just going to testify. It's Sunday. I'm going to tell the truth around here. You can go back if you want to.
Right.
There's a term we have in the housing industry called overhoused or underhoused. And you can go back if you want to. But Larry has all of a sudden made your situation underhoused.
Oh,
if you go back...
Larry turned your situation to community property. That's what it is. Your situation at home is not community property. And for you guys sending your women off to college, and now I'm just being general, I'm being funny, but sometimes that community property tagline sticks. But let's move on to tip 2.
Okay, tip 2.
Tip 2 for college survival: how to do college good. Mm-hmm. Books are for dorks, okay?
Yes.
Don't buy your book. Copy your book. and or borrow a book. And by borrow, I mean steal. Okay, what you want to do? This is how you mastermind this particular plan. Okay. What you want to do is you want to hang out in your class, right? You go to class, you don't have your book. You want to check the schedule to make sure to see when the next time your class is being offered, right?
Okay.
Then you want to find you a person in that class, the next offering, and you want to say, "Hey, let me borrow your book. I'll give it back to you. You know, I got class before you do, and I'll give it back to you." And they're going to be trusting, you know. They're going to be naive. They're going to be open and ripe for the picking. And you're going to say, "Hey, let me borrow that book." And then what you're going to do is you're going to never see that person again. You're going to avoid them. If you see them in a party, you're going to leave the party. You're going to do this for the whole semester. You're going to switch your dorm. You're going to change your number. You're going to change your friend group. You're going to walk in and you're going to have a whole new system because books are expensive and paying for books is simp stuff.
It's for dummies. It's just for unwise individuals. Okay. These are very good tips. Good tips. I have another tip.
Okay.
That may help decrease the cost of educational accoutrements.
Okay.
If you enroll in class, here's what I found out. They do not physically make you go to class.
Right.
Yes. They will not come to your dorm and roust you out of the bed.
That they will not.
And hoist you off to class. So if you would like to save money on books, just don't go to class. It's you can streamline that whole process by just not going to class. I like that.
Now you will condense your college experience a lot by not going to class.
Yes, you can streamline that whole thing.
Now you'll end it pretty quickly, but you'll condense it. Okay, simplifying is the way to go. All right, you want to be efficient in your college time. You know, that's a good tip. We should put that. That should have been number one. I'll come behind that with what I think is a decent tip. You should make time to study, right? It's very important that you study. Now, if studying was the level of importance from 0 to 100, studying is at like 10, right? So make time to study, but also make time to party, right?
Yes,
so
more important.
So it's important to study. Listen, children of the world, studying is important. And I'm not saying partying is more important, but what I'm saying is make time to study, but also like make time to party.
Time.
Right. And then study, and study. But party. Party is important. And then study is also important. You know what I mean? Like having a job is important,
Yes.
Doing cocaine with strippers is important. Yes, one allows you to do the other, but it does not say that it is outweighed from this one. So listen. So what you do, first of all, you prioritize. Time management is key. First, you make time to study, you make more time to party, right?
Yes. So wait, because I want to make sure that we're disseminating the information as efficiently as possible, and so that people can really take away some life goals, Douglas. How much time? The day is 24 hours, so they tell me
24 hours.
Yeah, okay, good. We'll confirm that today. The hours in the day is 24 hours. So if you were to look at that 24-hour clock there, Douglas, how much time are we allotting for studying right now?
So if you were to let's go best case principles, right?
Yes.
We'll say class ends at 4, sometimes 5, depending on your college, depending on how late you want to go, right? On a regular Tuesday night, right? So you want to say, I need to study for an hour, right? I need an hour of studying, right? But more important than an hour of studying is 2 hours of pre-gaming, right? So then you just shift that hour of studying behind 2 hours of pre-gaming, which is no big. Then you need an hour to get dressed and change your mind and eat, right? So then that study hour goes back. Bang. No problem. We're shifting. We're time managing everything as well. Then you're going to need an hour of travel and wait time. So you just shift that 1 hour back behind the hour of travel and wait time. And then you're going to need time to go party, right? So let's say from 9 to 2, right? So now at this point we're studying at 2 to 3 because the test is going to be 8 o'clock the next morning. So now we're studying 2 to 3. And we're prioritizing and we're time management. But then also, you leave the party, you want to hit up the Waffle House. You're going to want to hit Waffle House. That's that. So then take that hour and then go one hour back. And then there you go. And by studying, I mean taking a no-dose, getting distracted because no-dose will make you distracted because it's just pure caffeine. And you're going to be wondering something ridiculous like, why does school sound like SKOOL? Because how does CH sound like K? And you're going to go down a rabbit hole till you're going to be thinking about Teletubbies. And you're going to be wondering why can fish not breathe underwater? And why can fish breathe on land? You're going to be wondering some random stuff. And then you're going to forget what chapter you're on. You're going to study the wrong chapter. And then you're going to wake up before the test and you'll realize, oh no, I failed.
Yes.
But what you did fail at was prioritizing.
Aced party.
You killed that partying. And listen, you use your time wisely.
Yes.
That's all.
Douglas, I feel like it's important right now to just interject something and let the world know that, both of us, you and I are both fathers, caring and loving fathers as it would be. And what we would, absolutely, when our children come home from college one day.
Right.
I just see my baby girl now. It just makes tears well up in my eyes. She says, Daddy, I got a 0.5 GPA.
Right.
But I pledged and I partied. And I have no idea where my classes even are on the campus.
Right then, the slow clap starts. That's when the slow clap starts. That's it. That's what a slow clap. You insert slow clap, and right now the whole world makes sense again.
Makes sense. But absolute sense.
But I might have to rebuttal your don't go to class. Now I think about it, you do want to go to class.
Okay, what's that class?
Just, you want to go to all your classes, and you really want to go to all your classes to make sure that there are no hotties in there. Because if there's hotties in your class, then you're going to want to go to class, buddy. Because number one, you broke up with your high school girlfriend.
Remember step one. Yes.
You broke up with your high school girlfriend, step one. You're going to need someone in your life that you don't know, and you're going to find that person in class, buddy. Now, the best advice I can give is to speak up in class. But only speak up in class on things you know that are right. Okay? And then you make yourself sound extraordinarily intelligent.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you, the hottie is going to be paying attention. And the hottie is going to want to have a study buddy, and that's you. You want to be the hottie study buddy.
Yes.
Now, you're going to want to capitalize on this hottie study buddy pretty fast. Because you don't want her to get wind of the fact that you're failing this class. Because, the study thing. Because, you partied all night and you didn't study and then you failed. You don't want her to know that, right? You want her to assume you're smart. And I can tell you from personal experience, this worked on my behalf. I won't say any, no details or whatever, but I remember I was in this class, and the teacher's name was Dr. Balassi, right? And it was a sociology class. And I don't understand sociology. As an adult man, I don't think I've ever heard the word mentioned again. But I was in a sociology class, and I did not understand what was going on, right? I didn't understand why I kept failing this test, but I knew I was intelligent, so I would speak intelligently on all the topics I could, because there was a hottie in that class.
Bonafide.
So I had to capitalize, buddy, and I answered as many questions as I could, and I seemed as smart as I could. I was horribly failing that class. I was failing that class so bad that I was asking other professors, is it me? And they were like, nah, dude is a little bit tough. So I think I called him on a weekend one day. I got his number. I called him. I was like, hey, how can I pass this class? Because I am doing something totally wrong. And then he kind of finally at the end, he told me, hey, the problem is you're answering my question without justifying your answer. Mm-hmm. The beautiful story behind this thing was I made myself look smart. This young lady found me intelligent, and it was all great.
Yes.
And we were able to have a great conversation. We had a great situationship until
Long meet Larry caught wind of your relationship and decided
well, no, until she was like, hey, can you help me in this class? And I was like,
no. Fresh out of that.
No, I cannot help you in this class. And she was like, well, you sound smart. Like, yeah, you got the first part right. Sound. I sound smart. I sound super intelligent. But when it comes to me and you in this class, if you're trying to replicate my personal experience, then you can just go ahead and not come to class and get the same F I'm getting by being in class. You can consolidate your college experience pretty quick by just not coming to class. And if you are in this class, then I wouldn't be coming to class either.
So, Douglas, I will add to this a little bit, a little context here. I had a class called epistemology. It is the study of words. It is literally one of the most asinine classes I've ever sat in my entire existence. And it was at 7:15 in the a.m. Monday and Wednesday, 2 days a week. And when I say there was a bona fide hottie in that class,
there's always one.
Bona fide. And I would ask the professor, pardon me, Mr. Professor, he was an African gentleman, very nice. I said, hey, kind of a similar question, what am I doing wrong in your class? Am I not listening? Am I not studying the right chapters? He looked at me and said something to the effect of, I don't think you could tell me what color my suit was on any given day. And I said, why? He said, because you spend the vast majority of your time looking in the opposite direction at this bona fide hottie.
Right. Where your attention should be focused. I mean, what is he, a hater?
I believe he was a hater. Bona fide hater.
Obviously.
Old, balding. He couldn't get her. This is why we had this confrontation. So he said, if you spend at least 1/3 of the time just taking a few notes, and then on test day, because the class was open book test, by the way, if you just open said notebook, you may have an opportunity to get a D. I said, sir, that's not going to do me any good. Can I find a way to get a C? He told me yes. Staying at home for the rest of the semester and taking it again next semester and to get a C. I said, oh, very good, very good.
Yeah, listen. Now that's elongating the college experience. You want to consolidate that college experience, but to your point, you make a very good, I would say alternative tip. The earlier the class, the better.
Okay.
Get your classes as early as possible. And some might say, well, is it because your brain is operating at a higher level and maybe you can get your schedule together and then give yourself a little time in the evening because now you can get out of class at 3 and not 5, and then you can reprioritize your studying maybe before you party? And to that person, I would say, no, dumb. You get classes early so that you don't have to wake up. If you think about it, you don't have to wake up. You just kind of,
awake.
You just rouse yourself enough to get to class and then go back to sleep. Listen, there is no better sleep. You get good REM sleep when a person is talking about something that you know nothing about and you don't have a real concern about. You're right back to sleep.
My Tuesday, Thursday class that semester, World Civilization, 7:15 in the morning. Beautiful sleep.
Oh, good sleep.
Wonderful.
Such good sleep.
Fantastic.
Such good
Head
sleep.
back, mouth open. Full drool. It was great.
And if you're up on game, this was my experience. Shout out to Professor Bignall. I hope he's alive. He was good. He was a decent man. He failed me. He failed me a lot.
You?
Yeah, he failed me a lot. He failed me.
You failed a lot.
He failed me as a teacher, and he failed me as an educator.
Okay.
But he failed me. Okay. But anyway, so this was after I pledged, right? And in my pledging experience, and I put some sauce in here, my pledging experience was a little bit unique because I pledged an organization at the time, Phi Beta Sigma, that we really weren't popping, right? We were in like a lull period. We were just about to pop. At my line, the next line, we kind of our trajectory went up, but we were in a lull. And so because my line dropped and we were a little bit cooler than the line before us, we were getting invited to parties, right? And because in my particular year of pledging, there was a lot of lines dropped at the same time, big lines. So it was a lot of Greeks on campus at that point, a lot more than previous, right? So we were partying a little bit more than normal. The worst part about my us getting offline was we got offline during finals. So we got off, we pledged all through when we should have been studying. And then we got off. They let us loose into this new world in finals.
And now, just enough time to get Fs for everything.
Just enough time to fail. I mean, they left us off in the prime time to fail. You know what I mean? We had just enough time to fail. Now, I say me, because I was on my own wave. I think my line brothers did well.
Did very well.
Yeah, I was on a different wavelength at the particular time. So I spent, let's say, 100% of the time when I should have been studying for finals, I probably spent about 2% of that studying. And the other percent just wilding out. But anyway, so I had this Dr. Bignall class when I was online. And every morning, what I would do, I had my brother found this Gucci bucket hat. And I say found, it was probably in Memphis up under the little bridge. Swap meet status. Made in Vietnam. Gucci hat. And I used to come into class and I would pull the Gucci hat all the way over my eyes, the Gucci bucket. I used to pull it all over my eyes. And then I used to take gum and stick it to the bottom of my hand. So I would, and put a pencil in my hand, right? So I put a pencil in my hand like I'm writing. I put gum on the bottom and I stick my hand to the desk. So it looked as though I'm taking notes in this Gucci bucket. Whole time I'd be knocked out to sleep. And here goes the worst part. The only reason I even came to class is because when you're participating in intake, the people around you want to make sure that you are prioritizing education by attendance. I was never hazed, but but the people around me wanted to make sure that I was putting education as a priority.
That's right.
So, alternate tip, if you want great rest, early morning classes. It is the way to go.
It is. Absolutely. I agree. I will also add I had not quite the same experience. I pledged later in life. I was a little older. And, my thing was I had a night shift job. Night
Okay.
shift job, after school activities with a few gentlemen, evening activities, should I say, with a few gentlemen, and go to school. My school was also at night, in the afternoon or evenings, if you will. I will say that I did graduate undergrad. I will also say that I can tell you absolutely none of what I learned in undergrad. I was that sleepy, walked through it and completely in a blur, and just happened to go to school at the same time that Katrina happened. And so they offered us like FEMA credits where you could spend approximately 2 hours on one class, take a test, and get a credit for it. That was a thing. I probably got 30 of those credits.
But I can tagline on a very important point that I think that I might have overlooked.
Okay.
You said you're walking through a blur. Listen, we've all had those times. So you need to learn in college how to drink correctly. Okay? You heard it from here first, and you'll probably never hear it anywhere else, exclusively here.
Yes.
Blacking out is bad. Okay? You don't ever want to black out, because blackout means you can only make bad decisions for maybe 2 to 3 hours maximum. You don't want only 2 to 3 hours to make bad decisions. How are you ever going to learn or get any life experience out of 2 to 3 hours of bad decisions? No.
Tough thing to do.
Like in electricity, they call it a rolling blackout, right? No. You want a walking brownout. That's what you want. You want to be high functioning, making terrible decisions for at least 5 to 7 hours. Yeah, in a blackout, you're gonna wake up in your house. You're not gonna know how you got home. You're gonna have a weird taste in your mouth. Your friends are gonna be like, "Oh, you were crazy last night. We had to take you home because we knew you were out of it." No. You don't want that morning. You want to wake up not knowing where you are in a different state. You want to wake up. You want to look around. You want to hear an unfamiliar snore. And you're going to want to know, hey, wait a minute. I live by myself. What's this unfamiliar snore? And you're going to want to roll over and look. And you're going to want to make eye contact with a young lady that you're not 100% sure that this isn't Bigfoot or a Sasquatch. A Yeti. You're not quite sure what this is. You're gonna want to wake up and process for a minute, right? You're gonna want to look at this tile on the ceiling. You're gonna want to look at the ceiling tile. You're gonna want to get yourself calibrated, right? You're gonna want to roll over and see some kind of a subspecies of wildebeest beside you. Now, if you wake up to a nice, regular-looking woman, then you're not doing it right. Reset.
A nice, wholesome young lady.
Yeah, reset. We'll try it again on Saturday night. Okay.
Now, I'm gonna give the audience the proper ingredients to waking up with Beowulf in your bed.
You gotta know.
Yeah, you gotta know. So knowing is half the battle. So when you start off the evening, what you want to do is drink the cheapest beer you can find immediately. I would suggest Steel Reserve and/or PBR.
And/or PBR. Those are two great lead-ins
Yes.
Now, those only work if you apply the first rule that people have to know.
Okay.
Somebody, some dumb in your life, some idiot loser in your life, someone who is not wanting your best interest in your life is going to tell you, hey, Doug, you might want to eat before you start drinking. And to that loser, to that dumb, you tell them, you get out of my life. You are not what God wants for me in this particular time. You are here for a season and not a reason. Get that dumb out of there. Now, back to PBR.
Yes. So the PBR precedes any liquor. And, you know, one might want to go and get a decent alcohol to consume. Somebody might want to go get like a Hennessy or, you know, a Macallan if you're in Scotch or whiskey or Jack Daniels. Some people may say go get something like that.
Right.
That's not what you want.
A top shelf alcohol.
Somebody might tell you to do that. No. What you do is you find Montezuma tequila.
Yes.
You pour it into a cup.
Right.
You find some Dollar General lemonade.
Okay.
You throw that on top of it.
Okay. Now we're working.
Now somebody might say that's a lot of strong stuff together. Might want to get a little ice to cut it. No. To them, I say no, sir. Nay. We keep this drink room temp. Because when it's room temp is when you sleep with a chimp. That's when it happens.
If it's not room temp, you won't wake up with a chimp. We need a t-shirt for that.
That's it.
And some people might say, hey, unbiased, we don't know what Montezuma tequila is.
Oh,
and then I say, well, I understand that you may not know. So what I'm going to advise you to do is go to your local liquor store. And you're going to be looking in the middle, right, where you normally would look. I'm going to tell you, you're being a dum-dum. Look down at your feet. And you're going to say, but unbiased, that's where all the cheap liquor is. And I'm going to say, you're getting warmer.
You're getting close.
You're getting warmer. And then you're going to reach down for a bottle. But that bottle's glass. It's not what we're talking about.
Wrong bottle.
Wrong bottle. No. You're going to want to get that plastic bottle. If you're in the tequila section, if you don't have Montezuma, just get any tequila in a plastic bottle.
That's the standard. That's the gold standard right there.
That is what you're aiming at to get into the situation where you wake up with an African... where you wake up with an African folklore.
An urban legend.
Some kind of Tootsie God that they pray to for that they pray to for water.
And crops.
If you want to wake up to some kind of cave drawing.
If your date for the evening did not co-star in the movie Rampage, you sir are doing things wrong. Okay?
You want to keep in mind like a cave drawing, right? You want to keep in mind a cave drawing because you want her shape to loosely resemble a cave drawing woolly mammoth is what you want. Like, like kind of blurry around the edges,
She should look like Electro off of Spider-Man 2.
Right.
Or Spider-Man 3, whatever one it is.
Maybe a tusk,
Oh, God.
Everybody seen Ice Age. You want a Manny, okay?
Jesus. And
this is what you want.
This is what you're looking for in life, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Because
more specifically, gentlemen.
Because if you wake up in the morning and everything is fine and you look around and you're at home and life is great, then what fun was that?
Well, and if you wake up in a situation where you have a lovely young lady next to you that cares about you academically, emotionally, spiritually, wants to meet your parents and
supportive,
talking to you about your life plans and credit scores and all this, then you have nowhere else to go. You've hit the pinnacle of relationships. So what you need to do is start at the bottom.
You need to find the bottom. And then locate your closest drilling store, a Lowe's, a Home Depot, one of those Ace is the place for you, and you need to find you a pickaxe, okay? And you're gonna firmly place your feet at the bottom, and then you're gonna get you a pickaxe, and you want to go through that bottom, right? Yeah. You're gonna want to go through there. Yeah. You're gonna want to hit the dirt. And then right there is where you can start to build.
So when you find the bottom of the barrel, as people say,
right?
If you stop there, just know that you've not gone. You've not put in enough effort. Okay?
No,
because you need to go below that bottom.
First of all, bottom of the barrel. You need to flip that barrel over
right on its head,
and flip that barrel over and keep digging. As Dory said in that movie, just keep swimming. No. Just keep digging. Just keep digging.
Just keep digging.
But all jokes aside, it would be irrational for us to not really kick some game on like a good college experience, maybe some good college advice. I think that and this kind of sparked because I had a couple conversations earlier this week about college experience, and I think that from my personal experience, the best advice I could get, number one, is graduate no matter how you feel about life, right?
Yeah.
No matter what's going on, no matter your personal situations, no matter any of that, college is a limited time where you can be in college, right? Where you can really do college and not have social stigmas and not have outside pressures and not have the competition of people your age in the workforce. Like, I think that there's a lot of things that kind of go into college that we, maybe I'll say me, I won't step on you, but maybe me, I didn't quite understand that, it's really important to kind of get that period of your life out of the way because life has so much to offer. And the longer you spend in college, kind of floating and finding yourself, walk into it with the plan. And I would not say that the plan might be a major or the plan might be a career, but I think the plan is like to get a diploma, like walk into it and get a diploma, right? Because the older you get, and this is just my personal experience, the older you get, the less people are willing to help. People love to help you fresh out of high school. And they love to help you freshman year. But as time goes on, all that love that you had is not in a savings account. That love and that help is not somewhere in a CD. That love and help is depreciating. And it's depreciating value the longer you stay in school. So walk into it with focus. You know what I mean? Walk into it with a plan.
And I wouldn't just say, the longer that you're in school, but the longer that you go without a degree. The longer that you have an express goal that you have not made much headway towards, it's an energy drain on the people in your life. So the people in your life, once you hit that age where you are supposed to be accountable for your own financial destiny and your own career and all that. And I'm going to say the people in your life have put a deadline on it, even if you did not. So you're coming out of high school, 18, 19, you got until about 23, maybe 25 to have yourself settled somewhere or to at least be on the right path. And then people will help you further. So my parents both have degrees. Doug's parents are very educated and very successful in their career. So there was a pressure on us, like, you better figure it out. And the problem that I think, I can't necessarily speak for Doug, but I think we've had conversations about it over the years, is that there's this expectation, but there's no map.
Right.
There's no map. This is the thing I want to do. And, Doug actually kind of pursued one of his father's, I think, Doug started out as an engineering major. I started out as a psychology major. And we both ended up going completely different directions.
100%.
Just because, we kind of found ourselves at some point.
And I'll tell you this, for me being an engineering major for my first couple of years was the worst decision I could have possibly made, because, I walked into it and it's kind of hard to kind of articulate, but I'll say this. It's like I walked into it with a materialistic standpoint, right? Okay. I liked the way people looked at me when I said I was going to school for engineering. It gave me this allure of I don't even know what it was, but it was people respected me going to school to be an engineer.
Yeah.
But I, as I learned myself more and more, I was not paying attention in my engineering classes, but I was loving my philosophy classes, and I was loving my critical thinking classes, and I was loving my humanities classes. I was loving those, but I had no feeling for my engineering classes. And engineering is a very, very, very time-consuming, very arduous, very difficult degree. And, no matter how you feel about, engineers, it might be at your job or in your family, in your life, they are that way because it requires a very unique individual in order to make it with that degree. So I walked into it under this flogging, as we used to say back in the day. I was flogging because I didn't want to be an engineer. Right. But I liked the way people looked at me because I was an engineer student.
Well, and I had the same experience.
Here's a prime example. One night I was in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. In college, met this young lady who was a female barber. And I'll continue the story, but I met a female barber, right? So I naturally assumed that I am in a situationship with a female barber. She's gonna cut my hair for the low or for the free ski, really, for the free ski. Okay. Invite her over. She cuts my hair. And when she's done, she's like, "Hey, yo, that's $20."
There it is.
I was like, "Yo, what?" She's like, "Yeah, that's $20. I don't cut hair for free." Cool. Fast forward. She's in college at MTSU, but she's living with her parents. At this point, probably I got my first apartment sophomore year, so somewhere around that time. But anyway, so I am. She invites me to her parents' house because that's where she was living at. I go into the room. Me being who I was, things led to things, and before it kind of got too far, her dad knocks on the door, right? Now, mind you, I am laying in bed with this young lady in her parents' house. And I'm sure I sauced up because in freshman year I used to hit the sauce pretty hard, but so I had the confidence of an adult post officer. I mean, I had a confidence of an adult trucker, right? That I didn't like him coming in was kind of inconveniencing me. But anyway, so he kind of was mean mugging me a little bit, and then he was like, "So, what you going to school for?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm an engineering major." At this point, I was probably doing electrical engineering. He was like, his whole vibe changed. Wow. He went from being angry father to looking at his daughter and be like, "You got you one. I'ma let you cook." And he as soon as I said engineer, his whole vibe changed. He backed out of the room. He told us to have a good night. He closed the door.
I
And
have
I think
a
he
very
slid a
similar
rubber
story.
under the door. That part might be fuzzy. That part I might have made up, but I think he slipped a rubber under the door and told me, go ham.
I have a similar story, which is just weird. I started off, my major actually didn't matter because I was a ROTC student, cadet. So my major by default was military science. And, I guess I was trying to do a minor in psychology or whatever. But very similar story. Young lady I was in a situationship with at the time. Her parents were well known in the community. I believe they were doctor. One was a doctor, one was a lawyer, like some serious Huxtable type of vibe. Huge house.
Mm-hmm.
And the daughter actually had her own level of the house. The house had an entertainment level, so it had a great room. Then it had a loft area and a bedroom. So the great room upstairs was like basically her study room. And then she had the loft area that was kind of a little lounge area for her. Then she had her bedroom. So first couple nights, Dad was like, oh, and I played football. And I was a freshman. So hadn't started yet, all this kind of stuff. Couple weeks go by, I was only allowed to go into the great room in the loft. That was it. Because they could see the loft from downstairs. So I was only allowed to go in the great room in the loft. Well, one Saturday goes by, I get my first couple starts, and my name's getting called, getting rattled off, and then I pop up at their house for Super Bowl. No, excuse me. I see the father on campus as he's picking her up for something. I'm walking with her. He asks me who I am, because I'm around his daughter. And I tell him who I am. He's, I heard your name. You play football? I said, oh, yes, sir. Oh, I heard your name a couple times Saturday. Good job. Yeah. Listen, we're having a Super Bowl party at the house. Come by the house. No problem.
Right.
Now, Super Bowl party commences. I'm at the house. They got the gumbo cooking. We're all downstairs in this big, beautiful, almost like a theater room. Beautiful neighborhood. All this other wonderful stuff. And we get conversing, and he asked me, so what's my major? And I told him, I said, well, I'm actually, studying military science. My dad was, a regular Army for, nearly 20 years, retired. Now he's a junior RTC instructor. Oh, military. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Well, what's going to be your MOS? I'm like, well, right now I'm looking at engineering or whatever the other thing I was looking at. Logistics, I think. It was because Dad was logistics, so I thought about that too. And his whole vibe changed.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where, of course, being a young man, you're gonna test your boundaries. So I started testing boundaries. Fourth quarter, I'm all right. I'm looking at the clock. Yeah, absolutely, as I should. Test my boundaries. Fourth quarter comes around, I'm looking around like, all right, cool, let's make a move. You know what? Let's go. We still got to do some studying. Let's check this studying up here in the great room. I go check the study in the great room. You know what? I want to stand outside in the loft, look at the loft. So I'm looking at the bedroom door, focused on the bedroom door. Get to the bedroom door. Got to keep your eye on the prize. Get in the bedroom. Dad comes up the stairs. We are sitting on the bed. I jump up as if somebody was getting ready to start shooting in the building. He looks at me. Oh, no worries. I just wanted to see if you needed something to drink. And leaves and turns off the light in the great room, which turns off the light in the loft, and just walks away.
Yes.
This is after a Super Bowl. Yeah, for the win. So it was just...
He's sauced up.
Hey, man. He was sauced up. I was sauced up. He let me drink. That was the interesting part. I was 19. And, but he was like, well, you're not driving home. It's all good. I mean, there was so many different crazy things that happened just based off the fact that I was a athlete, but I also had this career in my back pocket. And for anybody that doesn't know, the cadets that go to college on ROTC scholarship, they are lined up to come out and be second lieutenants or go directly into the National Guard. They can do 8 years there, do 4 years in the regular Army. Either way it goes, they're going to have a career. And, that career is, typically pretty good as long as you, keep your nose clean and, and actually take some enthusiasm in your career. So that whole materialistic thing about your major, people don't even really understand that. And, some encouragement I like to give to the next generation is don't let that stigma bother you in the least. If your thing is knitting, then be a knitting major with the utmost satisfaction and pride, because you're going to be able to take that thing and do what you really want to do with it. And while other people are spinning their wheels trying to figure it out.
And to add on to the point, it's like, the other part of materialistic behavior is don't try to impress anybody when you're in college. You don't have any money. You know what I mean? The world knows you don't have any money.
Yes.
You trying to convince people that you have money is probably the biggest waste of your time. We understand you're in college, you don't have a career. You're not making $70,000 or $50,000 or $80,000 or $100,000. You're not making the money. So no one is expecting you to look like you're making the money. And the people who are expecting you to look like you have the money are the wrong people to be around.
And they don't have the money either.
Because I'm telling you, from personal experience, that freshman year is real rough on a lot of people. A lot of people don't make it past freshman year.
No.
Or at that particular school. So all those people that in your freshman class that you're trying to impress, you may not see them sophomore year. You may not see them sophomore year for sure.
Yeah.
Or, to your point, you may not see them ever again. So, focus your energy on figuring out passion. You know what I mean? Don't get caught up in what your major is and how people feel about it, because the reality is these people that you're surrounded by, I have yet to work with anyone I went to college with. You know what I mean? I've yet to work with anyone I went to college with. I'm in the DC DMV area. I have a slew of Tennessee State graduates around me, but none of them are in my particular field.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I do know of one other creative by major from Tennessee State, and she is in Chicago. But, don't worry about impressing people. You know what I mean? Go to school, capitalize on the help and the appreciation if you have it, because some people don't have it. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Some people don't have any kind of support system. Some people don't have any kind of help. Some people are first generation. I think we're still probably in the wavelength of maybe some first generation Black college graduates.
Oh, it's gotten worse actually.
Yeah, we're still probably, because I know there was only a few in my family. My mother being one, and I think my uncle. So my mother and my uncle in my immediate family at that point were when I started, I think. And then now I have an aunt who has a ton of degrees, super, super intelligent. But it was very slim when it came to college graduates in my family. So, I think we're probably still in that wave of first generation. So you cannot concern yourself with impressing people, materialistic things. Fam, get in there, get your education. And, it's an old South term of get your education. But get through, you know what I mean? Graduate no matter how you feel about life. Just get it done. Because to your point, the help comes at 18. Strong. If you have a good support system, you're going to have a lot of support at 18. Everyone wants to see you win at 18. They want to see you win again at 22. Okay? 22, 23, they want to see you win again. Mm-hmm. They don't want to see you win again anymore, fam, until you're 35.
They want to see you win, but they're not going to be active participants.
I'm trying to tell you. They don't want to see you win again until you're 35, and then they're hoping you're married with kids in a house, and then they'll buy you a housewarming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? I have that same, thought behind all of that, and it really didn't make sense until I hit those milestones.
Right.
I haven't excellent support system. I would never lie. My parents have supported me the entire time I've been alive. At separate times when I needed this, that, and the other, they were there to help me. And not just, financially, but, like you, I think my sister was actually the first college grad. In our family, we may have had 2 cousins that graduated from college, but there was none of the older generation. There was none of the current generation that had graduated. I think Colton and another one of our cousins, Curtis, those 2, and then my sisters, maybe Tamika. But we have like music artists and that are actual like legit artists in our family. And so, everybody, we're church people, so everybody was musicians
and military, because I got a bunch of military in my family. Yeah, I got a bunch of military who,
a slew of military.
That was their way. College wasn't the way. Military was the instantaneous way. They got that signing bonus. They got a little bit of stature. They got a uniform, because back in them days, women loved a man in uniform.
Still do. I mean, we talked about Covington earlier, dude. I'm sorry. I love everybody in Covington. So if any of y'all ever hear this, just know that it's not slander. It's just the truth. It's in a time warp. You get caught there, man. It's like the Twilight Zone.
But that's small town America. That's just not Covington. That's everywhere.
That's just a microcosm of small town America. And so small town America still exists, man. I know we see a lot of this other stuff, but it definitely still exists.
No, you see the Trump flags, and that's that's all small town America. It's not so much, and it's probably a topic for another podcast, but it is the older kid coming back to the football game is the time warp, because they are able to functionally be important in this particular bubble, right?
Yep.
You see the same thing in the church. You have people who have no authority in real life, but have authority in this building.
Oh, boy.
And it becomes a time warp. So, maybe education or pursuing education might not be the right step for everyone, but I will say that sometimes it is a catalyst to get you out of that time warp, to give you some exposure, to let you see that there are more things out in life than your small town. And, you might have to come back to that small town.
That's right.
But at least come back with the with knowledge and with experience and with motivation to make your small town just a little bit better. Yeah. And I think the last thing that I can, I probably could go on for hours, but all the wrong I did, all the bad mistakes I did. I guess the last 2 things, to be honest.
Hours. Okay.
One would be like
weeks.
Don't continue to take the same course over and over again to get a better grade, because the reality about a diploma is there's no GPA attached to it. Your diploma does not tell you what your GPA was.
Not even a little bit.
The only people who are going to know what your GPA is in college are the people you tell. That's it.
That's kind of the diploma does have a GPA on it if you hit certain levels.
Oh, so, magna summa. Yeah, but so, I mean, like,
clearly we would know nothing about that.
But I'm saying, like, even that is like, even if you get out of college with a 3.0, you don't get any awards for that.
No, you get no awards for 3.0.
A 3.0 is good. 3.4 is good. I think at 3.5 is when you start getting the cum laudes.
3.6.
So you see what I'm saying is, the reality is, pass classes, because diplomas are pass and fail. And if you think that the world is concerned, I'll tell you this. You can get a straight A 4.0 GPA out of a regular school, and that person with that Harvard degree with a 2.2 will be your boss.
All day long. All day long.
So it's just the reality of get in, find your passion, find your purpose. Don't take your time. You know what I mean? Like people say, take your time. You know,
No,
you have plenty
seriously.
of time. You don't. The
You
hard
really don't.
truth is you don't have time.
You got
You
5
have
years,
a
buddy.
limited amount of time for this whole life experience. If you're a woman, you're on a different timer, biological time. You know what I mean?
We're
If
not gonna get
if
into
you're
that.
a man and you're on, a sociological time, because people want men to be productive and to be providers. This is what society wants from us. So you got to kind of get it in gear to be able to provide, to be okay with society. Because I'm telling you, every song that comes out from a woman is aiming at one particular demographic of men, and that's broke men. and and they do not show broke men in a very kind light.
I'm not gonna say that. I will push back, and this is my last will and testament for today. Since we brought in the relationship aspect, when you go to school, the thing that you are not looking for is that girl that took 45 minutes to get herself together to go to an 8 o'clock class. That ain't the one.
I'll step on it and say that shouldn't be a priority, because the finish line is what you're after, right?
Yeah.
And whoever is at that finish line when you get to the finish line is who you're going to want in your life, right? And there are going to be relationships and situationships that you have all through your experience in college. But you got to stay focused on your personal goals. Like, you stay focused on the personal goals. And everything else will kind of fall in line. Because either those people, either people around you are going to fall out with you, or they're going to get on board with you. You know, I had a beautiful experience at Tennessee State. I had a core group that was really pushing the people around them to be better. You know, maybe not academically, but better people across the board. So, even though my mother didn't particularly care for my choice of college, I still got what I needed to get from that particular place. Now I ended up getting my degree from somewhere else, but
Right.
I got what I needed from Tennessee State, and that place will always have my heart and my $30,000 of student debt.
Likewise.
It's been your boy Doug.
It is your humble servant, W. Dot.
And this is the UnReasonable Bias Podcast. Peace.
Peace.